What's up? It's Juice Beats, back again with another race video, and this one is the Carter County Criterium in Elizabethton, Tennessee. It's part of an Omnium series, but I didn't do the road race or the TT for this one. I just showed up on Criterium race day, ready for the Criterium. And I say ready, meaning, I was ready to go, and I felt decent for it. But one thing I wanted to get out of the way is one of my excuses for this race. I did a 9-hour wedding the day before this, and I was pretty tired the day before, so my legs were already pretty sore and pretty dead the day before this. I was able to sleep over the night in a hotel and get some rest in the morning because the race wasn't until about noon or so. But I think that does kind of affect you a little bit here. And so I felt like I was ready, but I wasn't quite ready for the intensity at the beginning. But with that excuse out of the way, I do get into the groove of the race, and I feel pretty good. I felt like I was hanging in there really well. I was sticking on some wheels, and really the whole time that I was racing in this race, I was trying to figure out points where I could move up best. Basically, the way the start was set up was the leaders in the Omnium race were able to get up to the start line first, so they were kind of called up and they were able to get that good position starting out, and then everybody else kind of had to pile in behind them. And so that's kind of why I started a little bit further back than I normally would. Normally I would try to get up to the start line and get right up there, but they didn't quite allow that on there. So jumped in, had to punch it out of the gate basically, and get into the groove here. And we are a couple laps in, almost going into our third lap, and you can see this is a really easy course, really simple, 4-corner crit. This is the traditional way that you do a crit, I guess. 4 corners. I think it was only about a half mile around the crit as well, so super short laps. And the only time that it got a little bit, hectic or a little bit crazy is the second turn. So here we are coming up to this second turn here, and this is where things slowed down a lot throughout the race. This was probably the sketchiest corner just because it kind of it squeezed you a little bit. It was tough to take at speed, so if you were further back in the peloton at that point, you really kind of had to slow down with the rest of the group to be able to go around it. The third turn here is super wide. It's not really even a turn. It's kind of just, you're going around a bend basically. And then the last turn was a pretty wide turn as well, going up to the finish. So you had an uphill climb until the finish there. Whew, so I went deep into my intro there, but this is the Cat 3 field, so it's only Cat 3s in this race. It's a 40-minute race. I averaged 27.2 miles per hour for the race, 377 watt average, 328 normalized, and a 1366 max for this race. And just as I said before, going into this turn, so you're kind of slowing down here and having to kind of drift behind somebody in the front. And then this is the downhill section right here with a slight little rise there right by the bridge. That was a little bit annoying throughout the race because that slight little rise kind of had you bump and almost get air on your bike. And then it felt like I was racking myself sometimes with my seat. So it was a little bit annoying, but that was the fastest point in the race. You could, get speeds up to 40 miles an hour, maybe even more if you were pushing it pretty hard going down that hill. But yeah, that little bump in the middle kind of racked you a little bit. First turn coming out there, not too bad. Nice little, pretty wide turn. You could take it pretty well at speed, but obviously you're coming uphill there, so probably not going to be going 30, 40 miles an hour unless you're just digging in there. But yeah, so like I kind of alluded to earlier, I was looking for points to kind of move up. I wanted to see where the best spots were for me to be able to move up in this race. And I felt like the backstretch was tough just because of these speeds we were getting going down that hill. But I did notice on this uphill that I could carry a lot of speed coming around it, and that there was points where people would kind of slow down and you were able to kind of pass at this point. So I kept that in mind throughout the race, and definitely keep that in mind while you're watching this video here. So right now we've been through 6 laps already. You can see we're just speeding along here, and pretty much the same thing throughout most of these laps here at the beginning. Just speeding along here, going around these turns, and oop, I almost went into the curb there. Took that a little bit too wide and probably didn't turn very well there. But was able to recover, and yeah, had to dig a little bit down the hill just to catch back up to the wheels here at the back. But a lot of young and fast guys in this field here. A lot of people that I really didn't know before. Not sure if I really even recognized anybody, so wasn't sure who to follow, wasn't sure, who I needed to get behind throughout this race, and really, going into this, I was trying to figure out, okay, who are the main players, and I didn't really get a chance to take a look at the ones who were on top of the Omnium standings at the beginning of the race, just because it happened, so quickly, and I was just kind of getting focused at the time. So I did notice, there were several other teams and stuff in the race as well. So one thing, I knew there was going to be some team tactics involved as well. But I really felt like this course was probably pretty tough to be able to break away. So it's going to be a lot of bunched up riders and stuff. So that's what you kind of see throughout this race. And you see me, I'm kind of moving around at different spots, taking different lines here and there, just trying to see what's going to work. Obviously, it's still very early on in this race, and we're going into our 8th lap here, and I've moved up a little bit and then moved back a little bit, but yeah, still kind of sitting at the same point I guess I was early on in the race, so haven't really moved up quite yet. All right, so I sped through. We're under 20,000 meters to go at this point. We've gone through 11 laps already, and one thing that I wanted to say that, now that I've watched a few of these laps here is, I noticed that this race compared to the Music City ones that I've been doing was not as surgy throughout the race. I felt like, because there are other teams and stuff, and it wasn't just one team dominating, that things kept moving. So it felt less surgy. The only times that people were slowing down was really that second turn, and that's just because it squeezed a little bit there. But for the most part, everything was pretty smooth. I don't think anybody wrecked or anything like that, so that was good. And we kept it going, and I was able to carry whatever speed I was throughout each turn, except for the second one here, where we did have to kind of slow down for everybody to go through. But I think that was kind of known ahead of time, because I heard people at the start of the race saying, be careful on turn 2, and to take it easy on turn 2, whatever. So that was a known thing, I think, from the past, or people that have done this race before, or have seen this race on YouTube or something like that. So I think when I was scoping it out beforehand, I took a look at a YouTube video from maybe a couple years ago and just saw the course or whatever, but there was a crash on that second turn there. So I think that's what people are referring to. And so that's what, that's what's good about YouTube and doing these videos here. So if I can help out somebody by, giving them kind of what to expect from the course, then that's helping others out in the community there, and that's kind of how I learn as well. I look up whatever race I'm about to do to see if anybody else has done it, has put a video out there, and just to kind of get an idea of what to expect out there. But yeah, so I already had my close scare on that second turn. I took it a little bit wide and went a little bit crazy, but I was able to recover and not go up over the curb there. So already had that little scare earlier in the race. But we've been through 13 laps here. We're going into the final stretch, into the 14th lap. Still just under 18,000 meters to go. And I feel like I am just chilling. I am just going around in this square, and I'm just riding right now. I'm not taking any chances yet. It's still pretty early. Nobody's gone off the front that I've noticed. I know that I am kind of sitting towards the back at this point, but I am feeling like I'm conserving a good amount of energy for the race at this point too, since it hasn't been surgy, and normally you get that yo-yo effect in the back, and besides this second turn, like I said before, it really didn't feel that way throughout this race, so I wasn't getting overly tired or anything like that. So, and then some of these laps I was still able to carry my speed through it, through that second turn. So it like I said, it really didn't feel like it was surgy or I had that yo-yo effect in the back. Obviously it's gonna get fast going down that hill, and you can see, things get slightly away, but they don't get so far away that I can't catch up. And I'm carrying so much speed into the final turn here that I'm right on the wheels. And that's kind of what I want. I don't want to be right up on somebody's wheel going into that turn, and then for some reason they slow down or whatever, and then I run into them. So I give a little bit of space on the turn there, and that way when I carry my momentum through the turn, I'm able to be right up on their wheel. And that's something that I picked up a while ago from North Cal Cycling. I know a lot of people watch that for tips and stuff for Criterium, so yes, I do watch that, and I do pick up little tips and stuff from Jeff on that channel there. But I'm wanting to move up a little bit. I've been sitting closer to the back here, and I've been wanting to move up and trying to move up spots here and there, and just figuring out where I can. And you can see 230 kind of came over. I think he was helping out his teammate. He was kind of blocking the edge there, so he made me go a little bit wider, and that's part of the team tactics there. He's kind of maybe a disruptor there, where he sees that I was trying to make a move for it and trying to move up some spots, and he made me go outside of my line a little bit, and kind of shut me down. So that was one of the team tactics that went on throughout the race as well. So it was tough to move up. I'm on a team now, so my team is work hard, be humble, and they're out of Nashville, and I'm part of a team, but I don't have any teammates with me at this race. And with not having teammates, obviously I'm doing what I can by myself here and trying to move up by myself. So I don't have any teammates helping me, especially like these other teams out here with disruptors and some guys that maybe breakaway artists or whatever else. So that's what I'm dealing with. I'm not sitting in terrible position at this point. We still have a lot of race left, but moving up in the peloton is kind of a premium in this race. So because we are moving pretty fast throughout this race and the laps are fairly short, it's really tough to move up positions. So you either have to punch it at some point and burn a match to be able to move up, or you have to get lucky and not have a disruptor push you out wide or whatever. You got to find the little positions. This race is probably one of those ones where if you're going to move up, you're going to start from wherever position you started from, but you're going to try to move up each lap at least one place or something like that. Obviously knowing that hindsight here. During the race, I was trying to figure out, on the fly here, because I wasn't sure what to expect. I knew that, just doing my practice laps around, that it was going to be fast and that it was going to be pretty tough to move around in this race. But I figured that, obviously the big stretches here, so the backside and the front side were probably going to be the best places for me to move up. And possibly this corner, if I can get around some of the teams and some of the guys that were, kind of being the disruptors. So I was trying to figure out a place. You can see I'm moving from inside to outside a little bit, just trying to find a place to be able to move up. I'm taking the wide outside line here. I felt like I was getting a pretty good line out there, and it took me up to the finish line pretty well. But you can see a familiar racer right there. That's the Nashville Local Cycling, just in front of me there. So at least I recognized somebody. But yeah, throughout this race, I knew, going into this second turn here, that it was going to be, kind of tough to be able to move up or put in a move at that point. Obviously you could, just like that rider just did, kind of squeeze right there around the corner. But, I didn't want to be dangerous as well. And so, just trying to take that one as smoothly as possible and then pick my battles. Trying to find other spots to be able to move up. But we are closing in under that 10,000 meter mark, so we are getting close to the end here. We are 22 laps in, going on 23 right here. And it sounds like we got a preem lap coming, so still haven't been going for those preem laps. That's one thing that I will work on at some point. But right now, my goal is to get on that podium and try to get some points here. I'm trying to move up. So I moved up to Cat 3 earlier this year, and so I'm trying to move up to Cat 2. Now that I have a team, if I move up to Cat 2, I'll be racing with some of the top guys on my team and be able to help them out. And, that's kind of where I'm at this point. I want to get to that point where I'm doing the P1-2 or the P1-2-3 races and, helping out my team at that point. So not too much further, and we've got an outside flyer here. He's going around the peloton, and that's something that I've been thinking about as well, and kind of wish I could have been there to to get on his wheel at that point and let him ride me up to the front there. But kind of saw it a little too late, and he had a lot of momentum and a lot of speed going around us on that turn there. But it's good to know that it can happen, and so I'm looking for those spots here in this race. And I've still been just kind of cruising and drafting. I've been saving my energy pretty well. I'm still feeling pretty good at this point in the race, like not even thinking about that I did a 9-hour wedding the day before or anything like that. So that was good. I felt refreshed at this point. Like I finally got in the groove of the race. I knew what to expect, and then the rest of it was just I gotta figure out how to move up and get to the front here. So I believe, let's see, we're going in to less than 10 laps left here. So this is going lap 26 here in just a second. So we're closing down under 8,000 meters now, coming into the closing laps. Still haven't really made any headway up to the front here. Moved up a couple spots, and then I'll move back a couple spots. Still kind of sitting what looks like the back. I think there's some people that have been dropped out of the race though. But yeah, sitting at that point where you'd think it'd be surgy and that you wouldn't get a really good draft, but not really affecting me too much at this point. But I am pushing hard down this hill, and just, yeah, I'm thinking of places at this point. So that was throughout this race, because of where I started and just how fast everything was going and how quick the laps were. That was my whole thinking on this without teammates, is figuring out what I can do and could I hang on and be there for the end, or make a move at some point. And that's what it's all been about for me this entire race. Where can I make my move? All right, skip forward a few more laps here. And I believe this is 5 laps to go, so I am moving up a little bit here, getting a little bit antsy, trying to find a good spot. I do take an inside line here, and yeah, but that was one of those points where I was like, I don't want to be all the way in the back and have to try to move up in the last few laps. So I want to get closer. So I moved up kind of in the middle here, and I'm feeling good about my position, and you know, I'm feeling like I still have a lot of energy at this point. Besides this lap, my heart rate's been pretty good and in check, and I know that I've been feeling pretty good throughout the race. But you know, here we go. A lot of people are fighting for position at this point. We've got we're going into 4 laps left here, I believe. Yep, 4 laps to go. Just hear it over the announcement there. And here we go. What are we doing? I'm pushing up. And I punch it. Woo-wee!
Just a bit outside.
Got a little bit crazy with my line choice there. Went a little bit outside there, but I punched it hard up that hill because I'm trying to brake. And yeah, I punched it hard up the hill, but I really didn't get very far away. And now I'm leading the pack, and they're just chilling behind me at this point. So I do kind of slow it down a little bit here. I'm kind of cruising at this point. I'm trying to see, you know, if anybody wants to go around me at this point. I'm not going very fast. You can see I'm only going 25 or so here, so I'm kind of controlling the pace a little bit here. I'm trying to get somebody to come around me so that I can catch onto a wheel. Definitely don't want to be leading the surge at this point. We're going into 3 laps to go at this point. So my effort was a little early, and then here we go. They're coming around me. They swarm, and I didn't quite get to punch it like I wanted to get behind that wheel. So I got passed up by a bunch of wheels at that point, and then so now I've fallen back probably mid-pack, and now I've got to see what I can do in these last few laps here. Still not in terrible position or anything, maybe a little bit too far back, but yeah, I mean, not completely bad. So I'm sitting there mid-pack, falling kind of back here. I think that push for me probably took a little bit too much out of me at that point. You know, I thought I was feeling really good, but once I did that little punch up the hill, which was a little bit too early, I think it took too much out of me at that point. And now I've fallen back, and I want to try to make up spots again. And this is where everybody else is pushing really hard too. So it's very tough to be able to make up the spots that I want to at this point. I'm not sure what happened to my back cam. I guess I lost the footage on that one, so it's kind of hard to see where I'm at this point. But still gonna keep pushing here. And I think that, yeah, we're going into the last lap here in just a second. So falling a little bit behind. Yeah, that push was just a little bit too early. I got a little bit too antsy at that moment, and I definitely should have waited a little bit longer. But I kind of saw that opportunity open up where people were kind of slowing down, and that's why I punched it there. I think if I take that turn a little bit better, I might get a little bit of a gap, but because I was so wild going into the turn and I had to go a little bit wide and all that, slowed me down. And then I didn't get the gap that I wanted on that, and then I wasn't able to get away at all at that point. Because I think I could have taken my momentum into this last little corner, or that second corner, and gone down this hill and kept punching it there. But here we go, just passing up some people here towards the end. We're getting down to our last 200 meters, and I don't have a whole lot left. Pretty tired, I guess, at this point. And here we go. We're gonna punch it up. Barely get over 900, but you know, there we go. Finish out. And I ended up finished out 18th in this race. So you know, I felt pretty good about my racing in this. You know, I did really well at drafting and conserving energy. And you know, the mistake that I made at that point was trying to go a little bit too early. And you know, I've done that in a couple other races as well. I've tried to make a break a little bit too early, kind of, you know, catch people off guard at some points. And that's another thing that I'm working on. So I do have a coach now, and I am working on, you know, sustaining those breaks and sustaining the watts for longer periods of time. So, you know, that's something that's I hope's going to come here soon, and I hope that I'll be able to get better at, and you know, maybe I'll be able to break away on some. Although I am more of a sprinter, that is something to have in your back pocket to be able to break away. But yeah. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you know when I post videos. And yeah, I will be posting some more pretty soon. Got a couple more races for you coming up. So yeah, I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.